to our third training of Meeting the Employer. We have Sammy and Edgar here today from the City of San Diego. They have some really good information to share with us about open opportunities, just kind of understanding what it even means to work for the city and what you would need to qualify and what positions are available. So if you can just give them your attention, we'll ask questions at the end. And we appreciate you guys coming in today. So thank you. If you're going to give them a hand, and then thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It always sounds weird. It's nice to meet everyone today. Edgar and I are from the City of San Diego Personnel Department. We are recruiters. We are a two-man team, and we are excited to be here today to provide you all of this useful information. There are a lot of opportunities currently with the City of San Diego, so hopefully today at the end of our presentation, you'll be prepared to go out and apply for these jobs that we mentioned and actually submit a really strong application using some of our tips. So to get started, the agenda. Introductions, we're going to play a short video on YouTube, a short recruiting video just to give you a feel for the city culture. And in some of the subjects and areas that we will discuss today include the city charter, the Civil Service Commission, which is actually kind of important, especially to job seekers, Personnel Department, ours, our mission statement, our sections, and our classified, unclassified employees, sort of different job types, categories within the city you can fall under, either classified or unclassified, but we'll get more into that. Types of jobs, overview of city benefits, how to apply, application cycle, and we'll do some questions and answers towards the end. So just a short introduction about myself. I'm actually new to the city. I'm 6 months in. I came over from the County of San Diego where I was working as a receptionist, front desk. Prior to that, I was a temporary worker for the county, working at the different COVID vaccination sites, sort of kind of looking for any job that would hire me during the COVID pandemic, and that's how I got my start into government service. My dad actually worked for the county as well, recommended me going into government service because of the benefits as well as the community service aspect. Edgar wrote those adjectives about me. I suppose I am enthusiastic. I am enthusiastic about helping people find jobs just because I know how difficult it can be. And literally 2 years ago, I was on the other end of that recruiting table, so I've been in your shoes before. Approachable, absolutely. We will provide you our contact information. Anytime you reach out to us, we'll try to schedule like a Microsoft Teams meeting, phone calls, what have you. We always try to make ourselves accessible. Genuine, not so much. Professional, absolutely. And then Mr. Edgar Portilla.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It feels a little weird with the mic. But thank you for having us. First of all, thanks for inviting us, for allowing us to share some valuable information that can be either, if you cannot use it, for the very least, if you can share that with other people, folks, family members, I think it's very valuable. I was mentioning to Taylor that the way I see it right now, this is the perfect timing for the job seeker to join the city. We've always had the door open for anybody that wishes to join the city, but right now the gate is open because we have so many positions available from entry level to upper management, and so I think this is the perfect time. Let me introduce myself. My name is Edgar Portilla. I am a supervising personnel analyst. I've been with the City of San Diego for more than 11 years now. When I first applied for the city, it took me about a year to join the city, but I never gave up. I kept going to every career fair, I kept applying, I kept paying attention to details as to what is it that they like, what is the city culture, so all of that. I went to resume workshops, I went to cover letter workshops, interviewing, by the way. One of the tips I recommend is also record yourself, because believe it or not, you're the biggest judge of yourself, right? The judge, and so it's difficult to, you think you're saying it right, but when you record yourself, I think you can pick up on the tone of your voice and maybe you can improve that. And so it's just a little tip that I wanted to share with you guys. Excuse me. By the way, I'm a little bit under the weather, that's why my voice, and that's why I was wearing a mask. Nothing to do with COVID, it was just a little cough and that's it, so feel safe. I have been assigned to different sections with the City of San Diego. I started in exam management, which is basically the section that is responsible for when the position gets created, to post it live so people can apply. But before that happens, there's needs to be work behind that, right? So you start working with the hiring managers, and let's say they want to do a park ranger. So if the park ranger, we identify, well, what are the duties and what is it the minimum qualifications that you wish the person has so he can execute the job successfully. And so you start working with the hiring departments, and once everything is said and done, including the supplemental questions, which means that when you apply, I think it's pretty standard across the board that there's questions to the job, right? So tell me your experience, tell me your education, and so those kind of questions are also developed and put together. Once you do that, then we post it live, and then once people apply, we are responsible for reviewing the application. So it's not a computer system reviewing your responses. It's an actual person reviewing your application and determining whether or not you qualify for the job. If you qualify, you pass, and your name becomes certified, and much more. We'll get into more details. And so that's exam management. Then I was transferred to liaison. Liaison is almost like the person providing superior customer service to huge departments like the police department, San Diego Police Department, San Diego Fire Rescue Department, and many more. And basically my goal or my duty was to make sure that they can accomplish whatever needs they have. Like, for example, employees who want to career advance, who want to promote, you help them complete the forms, making sure that they do it right. If a person needs to go on a leave with pay or without pay, you help them how to complete those forms. You explain the rules and the regulations. And so that is the liaison function. You just want to make sure you guide the employees and the hiring managers to do it right according to the civil service rules. From there, I was transferred to backgrounds medical. I have quite a bit of experience, excuse me, with reviewing criminal background checks. We have a contract with the FBI and with the Department of Justice, and so I was a custodian of records, and I was responsible for doing the criminal background investigations and the medical also investigations or reviews to make sure that you meet those qualifications. That you gotta be. We are an equal employment opportunity employer. If you happen to be a person that had some kind of justice problem in the past, it doesn't mean that you're going to be disqualified. We take it on a case-by-case basis, and so there's a lot of factors that come into play. What is the type of job that you're applying for? How long ago was it the last time you had a problem with the justice system? I'll give you a quick example. If you are applying to become a cashier and your most recent conviction was stealing money, more than likely we're not going to allow you to move forward on that. So it has to do with what is the type of job, how long ago was it, whether or not you're on probation or not, and more. Medical background also, if you are a person with some kind of disabilities, no problem at all. We actually do have a process in place where you go through an accommodation meeting with the HR manager in the reasonable accommodation section, with the hiring manager and the person who's applying. And we compare what is your disability against what's expected of you to complete that job that you're applying for. And if we can do some kind of accommodation, we'll work with you and we allow you to move forward. Okay? A lot of fun. I love that particular section as well, because I was actually responsible for when a candidate would appeal their rejection that they were denied employment with the City of San Diego. They have the right, or you as a job seeker have the right to appeal that if you don't agree with the director's decision that you were denied. And so you have the right, it's in the law, that you can appeal. And so when that happens, a commission, which is composed of 4 to 5 bodies, the commissioners actually get to hear your case. They review every little paper, including if you want to submit any reference letters, any supporting documentation, and they actually have the authority to overturn the director's decision that you were denied and overturn it and allow you to move forward. So it's easy. I just condensed that, but before that happens, I had to prepare the memorandums, the letters, and much more. So it was a lot of great experience to have. Excuse me. I'm an instructor also. I teach the Appoint Authority interview training. Basically is teaching city employees from any city employee, including managers, how to conduct interviews with the City of San Diego, because we want to make sure that they do it right. It has to be, the questions have to be job related. You cannot be asking something like, do you have a car and what year is your car, stuff like that. And so, and it's gonna save the city money because that would be a lawsuit if you're asking the wrong questions. And so I teach them basically how to stay out of trouble. And then I'm also a bilingual test administrator. The City of San Diego, one of the benefits that we have is that we pay extra when you're bilingual. It doesn't matter what language, if you're bilingual or multilingual, you get paid for that. So there's a process behind it, but you definitely get compensated for it as well. The only reason why we like to go over our experiences, we want to make sure we give you the peace of mind that you're in good hands and that we're going to provide you with accurate information and we know what it takes to submit a strong job application, okay? And potentially increase your chances to land a job with the City of San Diego, all right? Take it away, Sammy.
All right, so we're gonna play just a short little video.
San Diego. The City of San Diego has career opportunities, and we're looking for employees just like you, from entry level to highly experienced. Find opportunities to advance and grow your career with excellent benefits and the chance to increase your income and earning potential. Live and work in the city that you love. Visit sandiego.gov/cityjobs for a full list of openings and to apply online.
And we like to show this video just to give job seekers an impression of that you'd be working for a diverse team, you'd be working for a diverse community, and that there's lots of different opportunities and fields within the city of San Diego, as you can see according to our sign. Moving forward, the Constitution for the city of San Diego. Just a little bit of history, because I'm a history nerd. It was originally created in 1889. The current version that we are using was ratified in 1931. So the Constitution for the city has been around for a while. The reason why we like to bring it up is because there are certain protections built into the city charter that provides guidelines for powers and structures for elected officials like the mayor, for the legislative process for council members, financial management, the city budget, and administrative functions. And why should job seekers know this? The city charter establishes what's called the Civil Service Commission. It's the commission that Edgar had mentioned previously, and outlines the commission's composition, the members, their powers, and their functions. And this is really important for job seekers because this Civil Service Commission provides you with the level of protection. It's an independent governing body that operates separately from other city departments, meaning that, like the mayor's office isn't allowed to interfere with it, other departments cannot interfere with it, and it's done so everything is merit-based and not, based on nepotism, bribery even. And it makes the application process for classified employees the same for everyone as well. It's responsible for overseeing the civil service system, so as well as determining wages, job descriptions. If you ever have any issues in a workplace, this is another resource that you can approach to possibly begin an investigation or defend you or advocate for you. Their primary role is to ensure that the hiring and employment practices of the city's classified positions are fair, merit-based, and in compliance with relevant laws, regulations, and policies. So we are an equal opportunity employer, and going even further, we want everyone to have the same opportunities. It has the authority to conduct investigations of conditions into the city workforce. Say, if you were doing a job, job duties that were not in your original job description and probably belong to a more senior level position, you can go to this commission and advocate, and they could possibly give you what's called an out-of-class assignment, possibly bump you up to the pay that you should be paying if you're doing that work. They hear appeals of employees receiving discipline, as Edgar mentioned. So it's another avenue for you to possibly appeal a disqualification on your application. If you perhaps failed a medical test, you can appeal before the Civil Service Commission. We've actually seen it been done a lot of times recently. They hear appeals for rejected apps, consider leaves of absence requests, maternity leave, if you're going on a leave of absence possibly to pursue more education, that's something that they can do for you as well. And any other personnel matters. So really, this is that additional protection for you.
Let me stop you right there. Thank you.
So I kind of like to make it a little more interactive to make sure that we just don't inundate you with information because by the time we're gone, we probably forget a lot of it. Does everyone understand what how the city is structured? What does it mean that we are a city charter? Does everyone understand it, or can I explain it in different terms?
Explain it in different terms.
Okay, so basically, we are in the city of San Diego. We are the only city that is still a city charter. What does that mean? That we have our own constitution, that we do not report to the mayor. The mayor, for the most part, including other cities around, they can easily appoint somebody to say, hey, you have the qualifications, I want to give you a job. And that, how is that fair for the rest of the people? You can be just as competitive, you can be just as competitive. And so the merit system, the fact that we're a city charter, there's civil service rules. There's rules when it comes to, from the moment you apply, that it doesn't matter where your background is, it doesn't matter where you come from. You have the right to apply, and once that application is submitted, there's going to be steps, analysts that I explained to you, reviewing your application and determining whether or not you qualify for that, right? And so let's say that's the first portion. You submit an online application. That makes it a consistent and an equal opportunity for everybody versus a mayor or someone in the upper management, the human resources office or the mayor's office appointing somebody. So that's why we feel that it's very sensitive and it's important for the civil service rules to be in place, and that's why no one has been able to get rid of it. Believe it or not, politics are always involved, and there's been a couple of council members in the past that want to get rid of the city charter, and it's not that easy. It has to be open up to the votes of the citizens to determine whether or not that's a good thing to do or not. Okay, so there's been so many attempts, and they have failed to do that. Why? Because we protect the job seekers, and we want to make sure that we have representation in all the ethnicities, all the genders, and any background whatsoever. So that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that you understand. What is the city charter, and why is that so important that we have our own constitution and we do not report to the mayor? And that's why we mentioned about the rules. The civil service rules are precisely your rights as not only as a job seeker, but once you join the city, now you're even more protected. And how is that? In many ways. So you join the city, and within 6 months to a year, typically it is within a year, you get a pay increase automatically. You're gonna get a pay increase for up to 5 years, every year, and we'll go more into that, every year, as long as there's no performance issues, of course, that you're not showing up to work, that you're not doing your job. But if you're doing your job, it's within the rules that you get a pay increase. So you don't necessarily have to, what's the best word to say, your supervisor doesn't necessarily have to like you. Hopefully they like you, but
Edgar and I don't have to get along for me to get a raise. I just have to be, continue to do my work.
But it's the reality, and we get it that there's a lot of personalities that might not get along, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you said something wrong. And sometimes it's just a vibe, and it's amazing how the human body can function. But anyway, so you get a pay increase every time, right? So far we get along, so it's good to know. Good to go for now. But I kind of want to make a little pause. I wanted to make a little pause just so we don't inundate you with a lot of information, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just a little bit of information about the personnel department. We are the department that is responsible, as Edgar mentioned, for recruiting. So, actually trying to encourage job seekers to apply to the city. We are responsible for going over the applications, for posting the jobs online, for participating in collaborative efforts with other departments for new jobs, doing classification studies for jobs to see if the duties they're doing right now are compatible with the pay rate they're receiving, so on and so forth. So it's interesting because a lot of people actually get the personnel department confused with HR. I like to think of us as like the front end, getting you on board, and then once you're into the system, you're sort of HR takes over a little bit, but personnel still has the connection with the Civil Service Commission, and just make sure that you're paid right too. So we are definitely, when I joined, they called us the elite department. And then just some sections that Edgar might have mentioned before. Equal Employment Investigation Office. So this is an office that investigates any complaints, possibly about discrimination. If you're a protected class, you can go online and see the different protected classes based on race, gender, sexual orientation, gender expression, religion, what have you. But this is an office that will go in, actually conduct interviews with the interested parties, with witnesses possibly, and then participate in the hearings.
Every agency should have, public agency, should have, provide all employees the right. In fact, you as a citizen or as an employee, you have the right not only to submit a complaint with the internal office, which is the Equal Employment Investigation Office, but you also have the right to submit a complaint to the Equal Employment Investigation federal office. You can actually submit that complaint in case, because there's some people that might feel a little hesitant to do it internally because they're still afraid of retaliation. So you still have that other avenue. And then from there, it trickles down to the office, and they'll do the necessary investigation.
And that just goes to show you again how protected you are as an employee once you are within the city. Other sections include liaison, background, outstation, helping other departments with their recruiting efforts, with their job postings, certification, payroll, of course, everybody likes to get paid. SAP is the sort of internal database that the city uses to do a lot of like HR, personnel related work. Information systems, IT, every department within a city needs an IT person. So if you're interested in that too, IT positions with the city are very, very stable. I don't know if you're familiar with the private sector, but there's a lot of layoffs with the IT industry. With the city, since we have the Civil Service Commission, once you pass probation, you would become an employee for life as long as you perform well. Classification, compensation, this is where they go in to make sure that the job classification is accurate. You're doing the duties described in the original job description. You're being compensated fairly.
Can I explain real quick? The outstation, what does it come to your mind when you see outstation on the second bullet point? Anybody?
No,
You're
it's-
out. So basically what it means, it's an internal acronym, right? But what it means is that our goal, and it was brought back recently, less than a year ago, we used to have it many years ago. And the idea that in order to provide superior customer service to hiring departments like Park and Rec, Public Utilities, Stormwater, all of the departments throughout the city, we have over 34 departments, that we allocate one staff member from our personnel office in their building. So they can pretty much have on-site personnel assistance to accomplish all of your goals. So that's why it's called outstation. We're gonna put you out there, and that's the idea. We are running a pilot program right now, and we're working with 4 to 5 departments. And so it's a great thing that we have back, as well as the recruiting team. It was gone, but they brought it back. Why? Because right now is the ideal time to push for and share all of this valuable information with you folks. Classification and compensation, almost the last one. The reason why that is critical is because it's when our staff members are responsible for creating a position. When something doesn't exist, you have to create it, right? So in order for you to create it, you have to identify, well, what is it that needs to be accomplished? What are the tasks? What are the knowledge, skills, and abilities that you want to have, right? And then you build the position basically through a job analysis. And then you do a salary study.
More from different programs or groups within that department. They try to have a diverse representation, so different genders, possibly different ethnicities, just to make sure that it is a fair and equitable interview session.
Let me expand on that. It is, the city culture is, you can hear me okay, right? So city culture is that there is a panel, always a panel interview, which means it's composed of 3 panel members, the chair and 2 others. The 2 other out of the 3 can be people that we invite from other agencies or a subject matter expert. Doesn't have to be a city employee. Typically we do use city employees. but the chair, the person that is responsible for making sure the interview process goes, according to the rules, must be, one, have completed the AIT program class that I showed you in the beginning, and must be a city employee. It's always 3 panelists, but like Sammy said, it has to be gender diverse, so we want to make sure that, we provide you with, we want to make it comfortable for you as much as possible, and I wanted to mention that, yes. And by the way, now I came back. By the way, when you interview with us with the City of San Diego, when you are welcome at the reception area where you're going to be interviewing, we actually provide you the questions you're going to be asked during the interview. So you get a sneak peek, you get a preview of the questions that will be asked. So it helps you to kind of formulate your ideas or how you're going to lay out your responses. Some people would like it, some people don't like it. We are transparent, and we do that, and we haven't had an issue about that. And so that's another thing that I wanted to mention.
So yes, you will have access to those questions beforehand. Prior to that, I recommend doing some interview prep. How much time do we have?
If we could just maybe take a few more minutes or something.
Gotcha.
Oh, sorry.
I don't mean to cut you off too.
I can finish.
Yeah.
So you make it to the interview, they will provide you with the questions. Definitely want to practice beforehand. One note about the interviews that I want to bring up, if you do make it to that stage and they're asking you like a question, tell us about yourself, give specific examples, talk about your work history, include it on your resume too. Say if you have experience training, I trained 5 people for 160 hours over the course of 10 weeks. Providing those numerical figures on your resume and in your answers in the interview process will help us understand and make better decisions about you as an employee. Once you do finish that first interview, they might ask you to do a second round of interviews as well. The director, deputy directors, higher ups. This is generally not as intense. It's more to see how you are as a fit for their office. Afterwards, they will give you a conditional offer if you are successful with both interviews. Conditional offer is not an official offer. You still have to go through backgrounds, medical investigations, all that good stuff. Ideally, if you do pass it, then you will be given an official start date. So just to give you some ideas about the process, you apply, you're approved, added to the eligible list, departments can access the list, reach out to you for an interview. You do your interviews, get the conditional offer, go through the background medical, and then given a start date. This entire process could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. In the past, it took anywhere from up to a year, perhaps more. In my case, it took me exactly about 4 months. So we have an active plan in place. We are encouraging different departments, hiring managers, that once they get a list of eligible people to start, get that process going. Do not wait. Why you should join the city: career stability and growth. Our philosophy is teamwork. We're all one city, so you will have the opportunity to work with other departments, work with other highly qualified, highly motivated people. As long as you're meeting these performance requirements, and again, you get that yearly salary increase. It caps at 5 years. But once you're in a job for 2-3 years, you have enough experience to promote, and after that, those yearly increases start again. Of course, make sure you don't have any attendance problems, performance issues, or violating city policies. And the sky's the limit. Again, entry-level employees have joined the city as clerical assistants, management trainees, are now running the whole show. The way the city's jobs are designed is that once you join, ideally, the way I see it, you would be in a position to take over. And we will provide some handouts. I will direct you to our website so you can access the jobs list and apply online. But more importantly, we wanted to contact info for Edgar and I. If you guys have any questions, or if you would like to schedule perhaps a one-on-one virtual meeting with Microsoft Teams, you can go ahead and reach out to Edgar and I, and we will do our best to accommodate you. We're often out in the field, but we still reply to emails as soon as possible, and we'll do whatever we can to assist you. So if you want to receive more tips or have some questions you probably didn't want to ask in front of everyone, feel free to reach out to us. And thank you for attending our presentation. I know we talked your heads off, but the key theme that we wanted to mention was that there are so many opportunities with the city. So if you just take the time, curate your application, do a really good job, you will have a strong chance. And once you do join our city, we'll do whatever we can to make sure that you get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for that.
How many times can you retake a test?
There's no limit. No limit. And the only time we test is for the dispatcher series, if you want to become a dispatcher. It's a computerized test of different modules, up to 8 modules. Basically evaluating your multitasking skills, your listening skills, your comprehension. It's really not that difficult. But anyhow, to answer your question, you can take it as many times as you want until you pass it.
Is there a
And the
passing
other
score?
one,
The
there is a
passing score?
passing score. There's definitely a passing score. And then the other one is just a written test for if you want to become a police officer. It's comprehension. Those are the only.
And then we have some additional handouts. We wanted some information about the benefits breakdown. If any of you are currently in school or in the training program, we do offer paid internships as well. And then lastly, if you want to grab the flyer to direct you to our website.
Hello again. Thank you. We're just gonna settle back in and introduce Mrs. Lashima from SCG&E. Yes, she is going to show us a presentation, again, kind of the same concept and idea, letting us know a little bit about SCG&E, letting us know about the positions that are available, a little insight of what it means to work there. So if we can give her a warm welcome, please. We appreciate having her today. Thank you so much, Ms. Shima. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Without
Do
the
you
mic,
mind if I?
Yeah, no,
Or do I need the mic for your?
If you have vocalized,
Yeah.
I think you're good. Yeah,
Okay,
your
good.
projection's good.
All right, so I'm Lashima Blake. I work for San Diego Gas and Electric, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be here. This is my first time working with your organization, and I truly hope that we continue this relationship and this partnership. So again, I'm really excited to be here, and for those of you who are joining virtually, welcome, and thank you again for the invitation. So I have a slide deck up here, very similar to what you just saw with the City of San Diego. I'm going to bypass some of it. I really like a more interactive exchange and engagement. So I want you to feel free to raise your hand, throw out a question, ask me what comes to mind. I know this by heart, so I can stop and we can exchange and talk through whatever questions you have. If you want, you can always scan the scan code here. My son created that QR code for me this morning. I'm Lashima Blake. One of my favorite things about this picture is it really does capture what we do. And in some cases it captures what we do because it's focused on sort of our field. But we're more than just pipes and wires, right? We're more than pipes and wires. And I'm going to really peel back, right, the peels and the onion, you know, all of that as I go on. So I graduated from Morris High School, if any of you are from San Diego. Many, many years ago, I went to community college. So I went to Southwestern College. I spent maybe one semester there because I didn't do well. And then I decided to go to San Diego Mesa College, San Diego City College, and I went to ECC, if any of you are familiar with ECC. I went to every junior college you can think of in order to transition to San Diego State. And I finally graduated with my degree in public administration. So I love to share my story because oftentimes individuals think, well, you know, I don't want to go to junior college, I can't go to junior college, or I can't go to a four-year college. I'm a living example of really working through the system. I had to pay for my own way to get to college. And I'm really excited to be here with you, and had it not been for this journey, I may not be here as a recruiter with SCG&E. Again, I went to San Diego State, and I worked for General Dynamics. At the time I started to go to San Diego State. and I took advantage of their tuition reimbursement program. That's how I paid for the second half of my education. So I think the gentleman here shared with you that the City of San Diego has a tuition reimbursement program. The company I worked for had a tuition reimbursement program, and so does San Diego Gas and Electric. We will pay $5,250 every year towards your education. So if you don't have a degree, $5,250 each year. If you're interested in a certificate program, maybe you just want to be project manager and you're not necessarily interested in a 4-year degree. Our tuition reimbursement program covers a broad spectrum of development for you, okay? Paid by the company. You just have to get a C or above, all right? Again, I shared, and last but not least, I've been with San Diego Gas and Electric for 23 years. I actually think in July it'll be 24. And it's been a great ride. So I started off as a junior recruiter. That was my first job with SDG&E. After 3 years, I promoted to a team lead. After about 3 or 4 years, then I promoted to the staffing manager. So I spent 10 years there. So after a couple of years as a staffing manager, I was successful in getting pregnant and conceiving. And my story is we had to go through in vitro. And I took a leave of absence, paid for by the company. Okay? I was out for a full year. After I came back, I had a chance to go back to staffing recruiting, which is where I started, or I had an opportunity to go to another area in human resources. And I decided to go to the training route. So I spent another 10 years in training and development and facilitating. A little bit about our company. So at the very high level, Sempra Energy is our parent company. You've probably seen Sempra Energy downtown by Petco. It's a really huge building. That's our parent company. Underneath our parent company are other small business units. Well, I wouldn't say small, but other business units. We have Sempra Infrastructure. They are focused on building the infrastructure. So when you think about the equipment that transfers electricity and gas across San Diego, other states, that's what Sempra Infrastructure focuses on, the infrastructure to deliver the commodity. And then we have Texas Utility, and then you'll see Sempra Utilities. Under Sempra Utilities, you see Texas, and then to the left, you see SDG&E and SoCal. SoCal is up in the LA area, and the only commodity they deliver is gas. Only gas. SDG&E, we deliver both, gas and electricity. We have over 4,000 employees here at SDG&E. SoCal Gas is much larger. And boy, when I talk about opportunities, we have tons of opportunities. We'll get there. A little about our vision, our mission, and our values. This is what grounds us and what we do every day. We lead and we live these values. First is vision, making sure we're delivering the energy with purpose. And making sure that as we deliver the energy, it is delivered in a safe and reliable way. That's a dangerous commodity if you think about some of the issues that you heard around the world when it comes to gas explosions or electrical fires and things of that nature. Reliability is key. Our mission is to be the premier infrastructure company, and then our values, do the right thing, which is we're guided by ethics, champion people. This one is probably my favorite, which aligns with what we do, and this is all about the people, really caring about the people, their growth, their development, personally and professionally, and then shaping the future. Boy, I tell you, there's so much going on in the world around fire mitigation. The company is right there, shaping the future. Electric vehicles, we're right there in the heart of it. Just to give you an idea of where we provide our service and what we cover. So if you look, Eastern, this is the El Cajon area, so some of you have probably seen the SDG&E building off of Main Street, actually. Then in Kearny Mesa, we have another building. If you've gone by the beach, there's Beach Cities right off of Garnett, over in that area. Then up north, there's Carlsbad, and then further north, there's San Clemente, which is Orange County. And then all the way down south, Metro, which is by the border. So that's the service territory that we manage, or we service. Alrighty, so again, I've sort of shared with you some of the key things that we're doing in terms of shaping the future. So we are the first, we're the region's first vehicle to grid project. So EV buses, it's huge now, electric vehicles. How many of you have an electric vehicle? Okay, we have one. I don't have one either, but many companies, even our company, all of our vehicles, we're transitioning our vehicles to either a hybrid and or EV. And then wildfire resilience. We live in San Diego and we know it gets really hot. And so what we've been working on here is wildfire mitigation. And if you remember those woods poles that were everywhere, well, they ignite, right? They are a conduit to fire. So what we've done is replaced those wood poles with steel poles. And we've also, in certain areas, we've taken the poles out and we've moved them underground. And that's how we're trying to keep San Diego safe. We're working really hard at that. So those are just a couple of things. And then most reliable, we received an award for all of the good work that we're doing in this space. So a little bit about our company and our culture is engagement and volunteerism. We have programs that are designed for females, for women. We do a lot in the community. We have environmental stewards, environmental ambassadors. We have specific programs where we work with the underrepresented communities. And then of course, staying at home. You probably have seen different commercials, how to stay safe at home, different commercials where we're encouraging everyone to be safe as they are using the commodity, turning your gas on, swimming. There's even some commercials around swimming and water safety. So people, priorities, and culture is key and important to our company. Alrighty, so some of the benefits. Compensation, we offer a very competitive salary. Again, I've been with the company for 23 years, and every year we receive an increase. There are opportunities to promote up. As I shared with you before, I started off as an entry-level recruiter, and I moved all the way up to a staffing manager. Health benefits, so we offer our employees full benefits, medical, dental, vision, and 2 life insurance plans. Our employees do pay a portion of the benefits. The company pays a portion as well. And your children, your dependents, anyone you carry as a dependent, they are eligible to be covered under your benefits. Life insurance plans, we have 2 life insurance plans. Retirement savings, similar to the city, this is a retirement savings that you make no contributions to. The company takes 7.5% of whatever your pay is, and they track that. They don't take it from you. But every year they assess how much do you make, and they determine what 7.5% of that is, and they put it into a savings account. Each year, they put 7.5% into the savings account. So as you receive increases, promotions, and your pay goes up, so does that pension contribution. I've been with the company for 24 years, so every year they've made a contribution into my retirement plan. I've not made that, I haven't touched it, and I haven't paid into it. That's the beauty behind a true pension plan, okay? We have employees that have left after 40 years. So if you can imagine what their pension looks like. Then we also have a 401k. So there's 2 plans for retirement. One's pension, the other is 401k. The pension you do not pay into, the 401k? You do. It works like any other 401k. You contribute and then the company matches. Career development, I've talked to you about our tuition reimbursement program, but outside of the tuition reimbursement program, within the company, we offer training and development for our employees. That was my old role, right? So we would teach skills on crucial conversations. How do you have tough conversations with other people when there's conflict? How do you have that conversation and still remain professional? How do you have a conversation with your manager around a bonus or a promotion or an increase or something that concerns you? So that's one. Project management. I used to teach project management. How do I manage a project? What are the steps I should take? So when you think about your growth, the company is right there to support your personal goals and your personal desires. And we have training programs for that. We have time off, we have vacation, work-life balance, we have a wellness program, we have a weight room, we have reflexology, we have a masseuse that comes in and gives you massages, and then we have employee giving. Something about general employment with the company. We offer positions at all levels. We also have a union as well. I'll share a little about our union. But all levels, from the customer contact center representatives. So if you were to turn on your electricity, you moved into a new place, you'd probably pick up the phone and you call someone at SDG&E. The person who you talk to is a customer service representative, or a new word is the energy services specialist. And then to our C-suite, which would be our directors and officers, and anything in between. Full-time and part-time, and then of course advancement opportunities, and then employee resource groups. The company has done a lot of work in diversity and inclusion. Ooh, let me stop, great, I love it.
Yeah, so my question is, if you are trying to start in with SDG&E, what kind of level, like with education, are you able to access some kind of position regardless of your education? What would be the barriers for employment in that way? And kind of how could you navigate that?
Okay, I wouldn't say barriers, because there's a position for everyone at the company.
Okay.
So on the professional side, we have administrative positions. Typically, those positions do not require a degree. So as the gentleman mentioned before, there are specific requirements for the position, and that's all we're looking for. And what I'll do, and this is great, I have our website, I'll pull it up right now to walk you through it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is much better than a PowerPoint. Alrighty, so this is our website. So you can use the scan code on the handout I gave you, or just go to www.sdge.com. But this is our job board, so you'll see we have 44 positions open. And then you can filter down to the area of interest. So if you're interested in accounting, HR, you can always drill down there. And if you're interested in a specific location, there's one right now in El Cajon, 43 in San Diego. And then if you're just looking at California in general, you can kind of filter down. And then you'll see where all the positions are listed. So right here, these are all the positions we have open right now. Scrum Master, that's an IT, business analyst, clean transportation, senior wildfire mitigation, data analyst, we have software engineer, the new service representative. Let's just look at that one for now. So you click the link, and then, there we go. The description will appear. So down at the left bottom, primary purpose, it'll share with you the purpose of the role. Then the next piece these are the duties and responsibilities. So this is everything this person or this role is responsible for. And if you head over to the right, you'll see the qualifications. Okay, so for any job within our company, a high school diploma or equivalent is required, period. Okay, that's number one. and you must be 18. So those are the two, and you must be eligible, you must be able to work within the United States without any sponsorship. So for this job, only 1 year of administrative experience. So if you have administrative experience working in an office, wherever it might be, or working at a company and you did administrative work, you have 1 year of experience. And as a recruiter, I'm gonna look at your resume, and what I need to see is, does she or he have 1 year of experience? So if you worked at Target, that's not necessarily administrative, but when I read through it, if it says, I worked at Target in the office, managed payroll, timekeeping, scheduled meetings, that's administrative. So I'm going to count up the time that you've worked for Target. If you worked for another company and you performed administrative work, I'm going to add up that time. Requires a working knowledge of certain systems and so on and so forth. We do have a hybrid work environment, which means you work 2 days on site and then 3 days from home. And the company provides everything you need in terms of your computer, your laptop, or your computer, your keyboard, and so on and so forth. Alrighty, so then let's see, engineer. Some of these are high level positions. We have a program manager, if anyone is into project management. Aviation flight operations based specialists. So again, this is the website. Staffing operations specialist, that's in my department, and we're looking for someone who has, I'll just go straight to the qualifications, a high school diploma or equivalent, and 2 years of work experience in HR, in the recruiting space, project support. That's what we're looking for. So if you have that background, you can apply, and I encourage you to apply. All right, does anyone else have any questions? This is good for me, and hopefully for you.
Yeah, that was helpful, thank you.
Yeah, anyone else? Questions? What comes to mind? Okay, so then let's keep moving. So these are some of the professional positions we have open and or hire for. So we administrative associate, business analyst, energy service specialist, contract agents, we have accountants, engineers. We have the union, so we have trade positions, and this is an area where we're having a really difficult time finding women who are interested in working in the field. So if you are interested, I encourage you to log onto the website and look for some of these positions, and if you have that background or that desire, apply. So there's laborers and linemen. So you probably have seen linemen climbing the poles. That's what a lineman does, and they are connecting the transmission lines to connect the energy to your homes or to businesses. Or if there's an outage, they're repairing it. Someone threw their tennis shoes, or there's a Mylar balloon, immediately stops the power, right? Fleet technicians, vehicle operators. So those are a couple of the union positions. You will have to join the union. The union is the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and you will have to pay union dues, but they provide all of the support you need. And then if anyone is in college, or if you have a child, sibling, friend, or family who's in college pursuing their degree, we have a college recruiting program. And the areas are accounting, finance, engineering, IT, econ, and data analytics. Alrighty, so how do I apply? Go to our website, www.scg.com. The process is very similar to what you've already heard. You'll click the position, then you'll see the link that says apply, click apply. And it walks you through. There's an application for you to complete. you complete the application. Then it will ask you to upload your resume. You upload your resume. And then there's a pre-screen questionnaire where we ask specific questions around, do you know or not know, but do you have a family member that works for the company, and about 6 other questions. Once you've completed that, then you click submit and you've applied. On the opposite end, I then receive your resume, I see your application, and I'll do exactly what I told you before. I'm gonna look at the requirements on the job, and if it says high school diploma, you will have already indicated you have a high school diploma, check 1. 1 year administrative experience. I'm gonna look at your resume and I'll see, do you have administrative experience? I'll tally up the time, and if you have a year, great. I'm gonna move you forward to the hiring manager because you meet the minimum qualifications. From there, once your resume is forwarded to the manager is going to they have 1 position. So for them, they have to decide who's in my A list, my B, and my C list. So those that are standout, the resume is very rich and it includes details around the administrative work or engineering work. What you want is for your resume to pop to that manager so that he or she says, I want to interview him over or her over the other 50. And most of the time our managers, for 1 position, they might interview about 5 or 6. Okay, 5 or 6. Then once you receive if you meet the minimum qualification, we will extend an offer to you, and then you'll complete a background check. And the only thing we verify is what you've included on the application. So your work history, there's a criminal, there's a driving, there's a social security check, and an education check. So we do not run a credit check. And then separately, there's a drug screen. Okay. And if you are applying for one of the field jobs, there might be a physical associated just to make sure you have that physical endurance to do the work. And then of course, I've already mentioned this to you, you must be eligible or legal to work in the United States. I think I covered this. Yes, you can apply online. You can apply for multiple positions. We always encourage that. I've already shared with you what the minimum qualifications are. Do we have aptitude tests? Yes. So for every position within our company, there is a personality inventory, which is a personality test. And basically your PhDs, I call them PhDs in the people research, what they've done is they've identified the key characteristics required for certain jobs, and then there's an assessment that gauges whether or not you're a strong fit for that. For example, if I were to apply for the lineman position, the questions, because they climb up high ladders, the question might be, hey, when you're flying in the airplane, do you enjoy the heights? No, I do not. So probably I'm not going to be a good fit, right? Hey, do you enjoy climbing on small poles or something like that? No, I don't. So it really does gauge your fit for that position, just given the requirements and the type of mindset you need to have to be in that position. Once you are hired within the company, you do have to wait 12 months before you can apply for another position. That's about the time it takes for you to really come up to speed and the managers to receive a return on their investment. What kind of salary can you expect? So right now, earlier this year, there was a new law that was adopted that required every company in California to provide the pay scale for their positions. So what you will see for each one of our positions is our pay scale. So you'll see the minimum pay, you'll see the midpoint, and then you'll see the maximum. We also have an annual bonus. So every year, depending upon the job you're in, you'll receive either a 10% bonus or a 15% bonus. And for a C-suite or higher, it's a little higher. And that bonus comes every year. March 15th is a big day for everyone. And it's a performance-based bonus, so it's how we recognize our performance over the year. Let's see, do we provide accommodations for people with disabilities? Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I am hiring a gentleman who is a paraplegic. And right now, we are working to do some upgrades, make some upgrades to the building that he will work out of. So we do provide accommodations, and during the application process, there's a question that asks, do you need accommodations? And you share what those accommodations are, and if you're successful and we move forward, and the company will invest to make those accommodations. And are we an equal employer and affirmative action employer? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm really excited because it's these events like this that really help us increase the talent pool of people in different demographics. So I've gone to NABA, which is the National Society of Black Accountants. We need more African Americans represented in that space. Now we're here with SCARE, right? And I hope we continue this on, and I start to see applications from individuals from SCARE, and then of course those of you online applying, which then increases, right, our exposure. You tell your friends, we have that domino effect. But the company right now, we are 50-50 in terms of a representation of people of color and then non-people of color, so we're really excited about that. And we're doing a lot of work in hiring women in non-traditional roles and really balancing it out. So we're really excited about that. And that's it. You have my email address up here, and then how you can apply. What are your questions? What have you always wanted to ask as it relates to SDG&E?
I have a question, I guess. I mean, it's not really, there was a program that goes through SDG&E that will pay, you know, if you're having an outstanding bill. Do you by chance know that program? I was talking about it with someone today, and they wanted to know what the program was.
I don't know the name specifically, but if you call I'll give you the number, it's 1-800-411-SDGE.
Okay.
And you'll speak to an energy service specialist, and they'll walk you through the program and what steps you need to take in order to qualify.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, 1-800-411-SDGE.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else? No questions? No. Okay. Oh, yes.
I have a question. So, what steps are you guys taking, you know, like environmentally to try to be more environmentally conscious? I know you touched on it a little, but like as a worker, how could you feel good about like the work that you're doing, you know, delivering these services?
Oh, that's great to ask. So EVs is one, it's huge. We have a program called Net Zero, and the California Public Utilities Commission has really basically said, eventually you're gonna have to deliver your gas and really clean up your footprint. So we're doing a lot of work in that space. We had the first lithium battery storage, right? So we're still building out more battery storage to preserve the energy. Environmental, just in our normal everyday practices as well. I'll give you this example. So I had to hire an environmental specialist. Never did I realize there are environmental specialists that focus on dirt. Didn't really realize that. So we were in the process of building a small sub plant. Part of the EPA's requirement is this type of dirt cannot mix with this type of dirt. So what did the company do to remain environmentally, EPA's Environmental Protection Agency? We had to create and build a wash station, so when a truck moved from this side with this dirt on its wheels, it automatically washed all of the dirt off before they moved over to the other area. I mean, if you think about it, that's a huge investment, right? When you have this big plot of land and we had to have environmental specialists to determine what type of dirt is this and what type of dirt is that and so on and so forth. And then when you think about eagles, we had to decide at what point in the year should we start building because the eagles nest in certain areas. So that just takes it down a little lower, but if the company goes through that length, right, to plan out when our projects will be built based on the nesting time for eagles and different birds and things of that nature, we take it very seriously.
Yeah,
Very seriously.
Those are really good examples.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
What else? Anything else? Jobs. Yeah.
I was just thinking, because you're talking especially about like women getting into like the trade positions, like alignment, things like that. Does SDG&E have like any type of like apprenticeship for like anyone who's trying to get into that field but maybe didn't have the experience before, or like partner with apprenticeship programs to get that experience?
Yeah, so what we've started to do, and we've launched it this year, so we're working on this, but we are looking to not only bring women, but people of color, African Americans, into the lineman world. So we've partnered with a nonprofit agency to offer a scholarship. So we had a contest where we had individuals apply to the scholarship. They had to commit to going to the lineman school. The company will pay for their education and their housing because it's up in LA or Sacramento. Pay for their housing. We give them a stipend for food. They have to commit to the program. And we, taking it really slow, we had one person who passed all the tests and so on and so forth. And we're really excited. He's going to go to the school, and then once he's finished, then he can apply to our lineman position. And all our unions we're on board, so he just has to pass all of the assessments, right? And so the next step is, how can we expand that, right, and offer it up to women? So we're taking things slowly, and yes, so we're working in that. But also this gentleman shared earlier that he wanted to get hired as a meter reader. We have women that do get hired into different roles, and then they decide, I want to try the line apprentice. Well, they'll have to get the line assistant, which is the lower level position, and the only requirement is to have 1 year of construction experience. So if they have a construction experience, yeah.
Maybe that's helpful to know.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. One of the challenges that we've run into, and we're working on this, right, is to be a lineman, you have to have an upper body strength because the wires and everything is up high, and you're working like this all day long. You're lifting poles, you're lifting wires. Those wires are really thick, so you need a lot of upper body strength. So some of the women that have applied and they initially went through the process, they just weren't able to manage the climbing, which is core and leg strength, but then also the upper body strength. It's a tough job. It's a tough job.
Exactly.
But we can do it. We can't. I can't, but we can. What else? No? Well, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time out. Well, I don't have a clock here. Taking a few minutes to talk with me and just listen to me share. And if you have any questions, my email address is lcblake@sdge.com. Please feel free to send me an email. And then if you are interested in applying, our website is www.sdge.com/careers.
Thank you.
Here from Parks and Rec.
That's right.
City of San Diego still, so we did have some reps earlier today, but he's in a specific department and was gracious enough to come and share some presentations and also share a little bit about like what his experience was applying to the city, which is really helpful because it is kind of like a lengthy process as we learned earlier. So if you can just give him our full attention. Thank you.
Well, thank you. for allowing me to come here and follow up the whole city. I know they had a presentation this morning. I'm not going to go into detail and in depth like they did about the hiring process and the history. I'm here to talk about why Parks and Rec is such a great place to work. So that's what I'm going to mainly focus on here today. So what we do, we oversee, I don't want to put a number on it, but it's a lot of what you see. We oversee all the parks. Balboa Park is, obviously everyone knows what Balboa Park is. We oversee that. Our park rangers and our maintenance teams oversee these locations. Torrey Pines Golf Course is another one of our most famous facilities or parks that we oversee. We have the US Open here. It's Tiger Woods' favorite place to play. And then we have Mission Bay Park. It's another one of those crown jewels of San Diego. Everyone goes there, millions of people per year. So those are some of the top parks and sites that we oversee. So this is someone's office. So someone right now is probably standing right there, just looking out the water, making sure everything's nice and clean and people are recreating safely. So just an overview of what San Diego is. I'm not going to go into detail here, but this is just an overview of what it is. Kind of what I oversee. I'm the volunteer and internship coordinator for the department. So anyone that's interested in volunteering or becoming an intern, they're going to be talking to me. I'm going to be processing them through this process, making it as simple as possible. So I work with every supervisor and every employee that covers this space. So if anyone has a question, I'm the person that they're calling to onboard a volunteer or an intern. So here are some of our open spaces. So our open spaces are our canyons and our more wild environment. Most famous one, I think everyone knows, Mission Trails, Black Mountain, all the way down to Otay Valley River. We cover that. Our park rangers manage these spaces along with biologists in our department, open space managers, and then we have a deputy director over our open space division. Here's some stats, just some annual usage stats: 50 million visitors, 402 rounds of golf. That seems a little low to me. 20,000 seniors served. These numbers are around there. This is my number here, though. That's why I like to point out 672,000 hours of volunteer. So we're responsible for maintaining that and maintaining our parks. A lot of those hours and help come from volunteers. So I'm proud of that number because that's the most fun that I get to do. I get to recruit people that want to clean up a park. Not a lot of people want to do that on their weekend, but I have the opportunity to do that with the community. And some of the other programs that we have going on throughout the year. Here's our classes and camps at our recreation centers. We have a summer program called Parks After Dark, where throughout the summer it's every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have big parties in 4 different parks around the city. And so that's what our recreation division is geared toward, is building those community events and kind of readjusting the equity in our city. A lot of our resources are up in the north, and so not a lot of resources were divided up to the south. So we are working hard to change that, and so we created a whole division that's what the focus is on, is building the equity across the city in recreation. And so here's just an overview of our divisions. We have 8 now, and so this Recreation Services Division, headed by Sarah Arazo, her focus is, like I said, to bridge that equity gap between the north part of San Diego and the south part of San Diego. And so that's what Community Parks 1 and 2 are. Community Parks 1 is the northern parks, Community Parks 2 is the southern parks, and then I'm located here in the Administrative Services Division. And so we're basically the HR wing of the Parks and Recreation Department. And so we're located in the Neighborhood Services under Christina Peralta, but ultimately we work for people of San Diego, and so that's why they're up top. So we all work for the same people, and that's the community. And so there's just a little more in-depth about each division, the 4 recreation divisions. So our Age Well Services and Therapeutics are located in our citywide recreation, but then our, like I said, the north and south recreation centers are divided into CP1 and CP2 is what we call them. And then our outdoor spaces and our maintenance divisions, they're split up into 4. There's a citywide park maintenance that's being created, so that means there's more jobs being created. We have 3 different golf courses. Developed regional parks are some of those: Mission Bay, Balboa Park, those more developed parks. And that includes our beaches as well. And then our open space, I touched on that, right? And so these are our goals as a department. It's to connect all cities diverse and world-class, or connect all to the city's diverse and world-class park system. Provide a healthy, sustainable, and enriching environment for all. And so these are our goals, this is how we're gonna do it. And so all of our deputy directors are really focused on these plans. It's basically connecting community with park systems, but doing it in a fair and equitable way. And so that's really our driving mission behind the department. And so we have a lot of growth, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of pools and recreation centers being renovated, also adding more recreation centers, which is adding more jobs. So our park ranger program went from 45 rangers to 71 rangers. And so we're expanding opportunity when we expand jobs. And there's a lot of accomplishments. I'm going to prepare you. So a lot of our master plan was updated. We work alongside a lot of partnerships. Here's just a few. The San Diego Park Foundation are an important part about expanding our equity services. So they're a driving force behind Parks After Dark, and they're a driving force behind our movies in the park, kind of expanding those south. They also they accomplished something that was really hard to do. All 60 recreation centers now have free Wi-Fi for the public. And so they were the driving force behind that, alongside the policymakers with the city of San Diego. Like I said, there's more. There's more. So Employing the Power, that's our intern program. So we currently have 42 interns that are working for us right now. And we always have openings for interns. There are a few requirements for it. It's between, an intern has to be between the age of 16 to 30. They have to be enrolled in an education or training program. So it doesn't have to be a traditional college. It could be a certification program. It could be a program that we're offering that's a training service. And then the other requirement is you have to be looking for work. And so I think if you're asking about job employment, you are looking for work. I think we're all looking for work. And then our Age Well services, it's an age-friendly community initiative. They're trying to reach every senior in the city. They have a central location, but no matter where you are in the city, they will go to your location and assist in any way to help seniors recreate safely. Golf operations, we're improving Mission Bay. We're adding a pro shop. We're renovating it. I just got off the phone with someone in the golf division. I'm trying to build an academy for greenskeepers. And so we'll do on-job training for our greenskeepers, and hopefully that turns into a permanent job for them. So those are the things that we're trying to do to make it a little bit easier to gain employment with the city. We've all been in that situation where you don't have the experience, or they say you don't need experience, and you apply for the job, and then they tell you you don't have the experience for the job. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to get the experience if you're not giving the experience? So we're trying to break down those barriers in that way as well. And just another, some that are underway right now. These are all additions that are coming in with this next fiscal year. The budget just passed. So all of these are going to be improvement projects that are going to come along with jobs. And here are a little bit more. The Recreation Equity Audit. We had an independent organization audit our recreation system, and they found some shortcomings in it. So that's why our Recreation Services Division was created, to address those issues. And some of the major ones are equity in recreation programming, improvement on our fee waiver program, which helps lower income individuals participate and overcome maybe a cost to a recreation program. And then the way we market. We do a better job in some neighborhoods and not so great in some other neighborhoods. So addressing those issues are, like I said, one of our most important driving forces behind our department right now. So with all those accomplishments and things that are coming up and improvements, we're obviously going to need to hire more people. Our personnel department talked about the process of hiring and the length in which it takes to become hired. Me personally, I applied for this current position in June last year. I didn't start until February. So it took a while. It took a while. It's a process to get there, but yeah, it's a long time. And I was questioning it too. I go, are you sure I'm going to start? You know, I got the interview in December, so it's not like I was waiting until February. But the background check came in January, and it took 4 weeks to get it back. I haven't done anything wrong. But it took 4 weeks. They say it's 2 to 4 weeks to get the fingerprints back, but mine took the entire 4 weeks. So I wasn't able to start until February. So I've only been employed since February. So now I'm here and I get to talk about this with you. So here's just some examples of, so this is at a recreation center. It's just an example. So our most entry-level position is a Rec aide. That's a part-time position. You work about 15 to 19 hours per week. And this requires no qualifications. I don't know if personnel talked about no or minimum qualification job or anything like that. That's one of these. So it doesn't require a degree, years of experience. Those obviously are beneficial if you come up with some experience, but to apply and get to the next round, you do not need, I think the only thing you need is a high school diploma. And so that's what the Rec aide is. And then as we go forward, Rec leader requires a little more experience, maybe 900 hours of recreation. Assistant center director, you need some lead experience. And once we get into the center director, that's when the education comes in. So you can move up 3 times and not have a bachelor's degree. And so one of the requirements for center director is to have a bachelor's degree. And so that's where you'll hit the snag if you don't have that. But you could move up to area manager, which oversees multiple sites. And then district manager, who, there's only 6 of those in our department, in CP1 and CP2. And so it's basically cut up into 6 different districts, and you oversee the recreation centers and parks in those districts. And so, grounds maintenance. So we need people to take care of our roads, cut trees, grass, shrubs, make everything look good. This is kind of the career progression for that as well. It's along the same lines. Ground maintenance worker 1 is the entry-level position, and then it goes up from there. And as you can see, area manager or grounds maintenance manager and district manager are kind of the same. And as we go, this is just an example of an admin role. Clerical assistant 1, same thing, it's our entry level. And then clerical assistant 2, administrative aide, and then into the analyst positions. So there are a ton of administrative roles within the department. These are not the only 4. So it's clerical assistant 1 and 2 are kind of the entry, and then you can go to the clerk, you can go to administrative aide. But you can go all the way up to an analyst. And so they talked about in the morning classified and unclassified positions, right? So basically, classified is represented, unclassified, non-represented. Take anything away from that. So these are all classified positions that I just mentioned. All right. So you want to work for the city. This is how you apply. Go to this website here. Did you go through how to apply, like the application? Did you see the website?
Yeah, but he went on a different website.
Yeah, it was San Diego.
Yeah, so this is the direct link. He went probably
San Diego.gov.
and then went through the portals and all that. Okay. Let me turn on the website. You know, that's what they'll contact you with. They won't call you. They'll just email you.
I just have like a question too.
Yeah.
So I know you work specifically with like the volunteers and interns. Do the interns or people who do the internship program have maybe like a higher chance, or like does it help them maybe get into the jobs in Parks and Rec at all, or is it more just like experience during their time period?
So obviously the city just looks at the most qualified, most experienced, the best fit for the position. It does not hurt that you're technically a city employee already, because that's one of the questions on a city's application. Are you a current employee? What's your employee number? And so those are 2 questions on there. They're not part of the official supplemental questions, they're more screening. Screening questions. And so it doesn't hurt. My goal is to do that, is to create a pipeline. So we'll bring you on as interns, and then hopefully that you like working for us, and now we can help you with your application as you're working with us. And then your work experience now shows that you worked as an intern in the Parks and Recreation Department, and you're applying for a recreation job. So it kind of fits, your experience, and it gets you closer to there. It doesn't guarantee you a job, but it gets you closer to the fit that maybe a supervisor is looking for.
Are your interns paid? Or are there any like initiatives for paid internships? Because free work.
Yeah, I don't like free work. Although I am the volunteer coordinator, so I do like some free work. But for internships, no, we pay all of our interns. As long as you qualify, there's 2 different internships. There's a grant-funded one where you have to have these qualifications. And then there's another that's paid through our general fund, which is our budget. And so the qualifications are going to be the same for education. You got to be part of a training program. But it's a lot, we can hire, we don't have to stick to the standard of the grant, because the grant asks for something specific which we have to do to use them. Our internships that are paid through the general fund, we can be more flexible. But the one thing that has to happen is you have to be in school or a training program. But yes, they're paid.
You should lead with that they're paid.
Yeah.
I always, you lead with the money.
I'm just saying, it really helps, because a lot of times you may want an internship, you may want experience, but in a lot of different programs, they're not funded, and that is difficult to live in San Diego without any funding.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. I've done an unpaid internship, and I was tired because I had to work, So then you get contacted for an interview. Hopefully, they like your resume, they like your cover letter, get contacted. You get in front of a panel. There's 3. It's a diverse panel. It's not going to be all men up there. It's going to be all women up there. It's going to be a diverse panel. Typically 2 from the department, 1 from outside the department. Because we don't want, you're applying for a maintenance worker. It's a diverse panel, but they're all grounds maintenance workers that have been working there for 20 years and say, this is how it's always been done. So we bring someone from the outside that can say, this person has these skills that I've noticed that maybe they didn't notice. And so we try to make this as fair and as open as possible. For my interview packet, there were 11 different sections that I had to complete. That included interview panel, or the questions, the ratings, and then the ratings of my panel members, the summary of the ratings, the memo of the rating. Like it's a lot. It's a long. That's why it takes so long. It took me 2 weeks just to complete it, to do the reference checks for everyone, because I wanted to make sure I caught everything. I don't want to just go based on the interview. I want to know what other people have to say about it. And so to complete that whole process, it adds an additional 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So it just keeps adding on to it. And so, after the interview's done, we rank everyone based off, it's basically a scale of 3, highly qualified, qualified, or minimally qualified. So highly qualified, HQ, we put them in a category, then qualified, then minimally qualified. Just because you don't rank highly qualified doesn't mean you're not going to get the job. I went through that right now. It's just based on the fit of the position. You know, maybe someone holds education higher than someone else. So they put you highly qualified in education, which raises your rank. But maybe the job really is you need to be great with customers, interpersonal skills must be great. So you can have all this education, but if you can't work with people, you're not going to be a good fit. So there are many different ways to get the job. Don't think you have to have the most education. And then, like I said, reference checks. And then to hire anyone, you have to talk to your, what we call appointing authority. For me, that's my deputy director in the admin division. For some, it's the department head. So we just have to get that signed request. Again, just to get all the details in order and make sure we do everything right. So you're selected. You're contacted with a conditional offer letter. You get a phone call, you have to verbally accept, then you get an offer letter that you have to send back, and then you go through a background check with the City of San Diego. Now, I'm not sure what they look for, but I know every single employee goes through it. Did personnel talk about that at all?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll back off that. And then there may be a medical appointment required, maybe a TB test, maybe a physical. In recreation, I know for sure you will have to take a TB test, even for my position. I'm not at a recreation center, but I did have to take one. Then there's a waiting period. 4 weeks for the interview, 2 days for the TB test results, and you can't do anything until we get confirmation that you're ready to hire. After all that, you get a start date. Then you come in and sign a bunch of papers and get your direct deposit and start getting paid. So why choose Parks and Recreation? For all those reasons, there's a process, you have to wait 2 months, you have to wait half a year just to start. But there's benefits, right? It's a union protected job. You get medical, you get vision, dental, life, flexible spending account. So for me, I get, on top of my salary, I get $22,000 to buy a medical package for me and my family. That covers the entire medical package. So I get, I have zero out of my pocket for medical. And if I have anything left over, I can put it into a flexible spending account and use that to pay for co-pays. Yeah, the benefits, the medical benefits are great. Pay increase, 22% over 3 years, as I mentioned. That's a lot. Upward mobility. Everyone that I've talked to since I got hired, they've asked me, what can they do for me to get me to where I want to go? Even the director comes to my office and says, what do you want? And I said, this is where I want to go. He says, okay, we need to meet so we can talk about how to get you there. So that's always nice when you have supervisors that are willing to do that. And the last one, it's rewarding. Our recreation centers, this is what we do, right? That's TRS in the top left. We have 2 motorized wheelchairs for the beach, specifically. So we can get them to the shore so they can enjoy the beach just like everyone else. This is Ranger, I think that's Ranger Carey. So at Choice Lake, he does summer programs, and he teaches kids about the natural environment in their neighborhood. And the bottom left there, that's a cleanup project that we did. So all we do is help. That's why I'm in this. That's why I joined Recreation, is to help people. And it's another one just to get you again. The kids really appreciate it. That's where I started at recreation centers. Youth sports programs, summer camps, things like that. It's just a place for people to go, and that's what we do. And so that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? That's my official title right there, Supervising Recreation Specialist. You wouldn't know what I did if I told you that. So that's my email. If anyone has any questions now or in the future, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.